Joining me now to talk about all things tech issues is Carmi Levy, the perfect person to have on the line to talk about this. How are you, Carmi?
I am great, Matt. As always, tuned in via my smart speaker, so I'm not affected by that outage, but I can imagine a lot of people who are still using regular radios to listen in, obviously not able to get it through the traditional way.
Yes, and we are hearing from them. We are hearing from all of them via text and phone, wondering where we are. And like I said, we're working on it. So you said you wanted to talk a little bit about AM transmitters.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those technologies that has been around literally for over a century. I mean, this is one of the earliest electronic technologies that any of us have used, and it predates all of us being around. And we only pay attention to it when it is not available. And of course, these outages happen very, very rarely. When's the last time we had a transmitter outage here, in Montreal? I can count on one hand the number of times I've heard of this story happening in my entire life. And so I think it's a testament to just how robust the technology is. And essentially it's fairly simple. Radio, you broadcast it from your broadcast center on René Lévesque, and then it goes to this transmitter. It's an array of four large towers positioned close to each other, and then anyone with a radio within range can pick it up. I mean, it's an amazing technology when you think of it, and it's probably more reliable than the other technologies we have. My smart speaker has more issues finding radio stations than any radio I ever owned. So I still hold on to radios because I frankly prefer it.
Speaking with Carmi Levy about all the tech stories going on right now, and we're not the only ones experiencing an outage. YouTube has been experiencing outages for most of today. What do we know about what's going on there?
Yeah, this is interesting. So there was a spike starting at about 2:30. There's a service called Down Detector that lets you track the performance of major services. And so around 2:30, it started to really spike both in Canada as well as the U.S. But looking at sort of the last 12 or so or 15, 16 hours of history, there have been sort of little blips for much of the day. And then, of course, it got worse. Company isn't saying what the issue is, what the root cause was. That usually takes a few days for them to figure out. But the good news here is that the number of reports of outages are starting to go down, which looks like YouTube, which of course is owned by Google, is starting to get a handle on it. This, just a few weeks ago, there was a major internet outage in Quebec and Ontario. There was a Netflix outage last week. This is kind of one of the things that happens in the internet era. They're usually related to some kind of problem in a data center. Perhaps it was a software update that went bad, or it was a modem or a router or some other piece of communications equipment that failed and then caused what we like to call a cascading failure, so that it takes out not just one user but lots of them across a wide geographic area. It's another one of those sort of problems of the internet era. The good news is, of course, YouTube isn't the only video game in town. So if you're not getting your video fix and YouTube isn't working, you can always just open up TikTok or some other app and continue as you were.
Is it every video that's down, or can you still watch some videos?
It was intermittent, and so it's one of those, what I like to call a your mileage may vary situation. So some people that I reached out to, they were still able to watch as they always had, weren't getting any error messages. Others, they would be able to see a list of videos, but when they tried to run them, they would just get that sort of spinning circle, but nothing actually loaded. So, and that's actually a good sign, because it means that the service is actually still working somewhat, but it's not performing at 100% health or 100% capacity. So, good news is we seem to be trending in the right direction. The number of reports seems to be falling off, and I'm not getting as many complaints in my inbox as I was just an hour ago.
Okay. Carmi, what would happen if Donald Trump retaliated against Elon Musk's companies?
It would be fairly significant, because if you think of it, so the two companies that we're probably most worried about that have the largest sort of footprint in the U.S. in terms of business, they're SpaceX, the rocket company, and Tesla, the electric vehicle company. Tesla, they only got about $42 million in subsidies from the U.S. government over the last 15 or so years, so that's not that big of a deal. But there is a $7,500 tax credit that, if that disappears, not a lot of people are going to want to buy a Tesla, and there are already a lot of people who are wanting to try to sell their Teslas because they're not very happy with Mr. Musk. So it'll certainly not, this isn't good news for the company Tesla, but really it's SpaceX that is the greatest concern. SpaceX now handles the vast majority of American traffic to low Earth orbit. So if you're launching astronauts to the International Space Station, they're the only American option there. They can also have seats, and they do have arrangements with Russia. They still have partnership for the ISS. They still do put American astronauts on Soyuz spacecraft, but really SpaceX has been the workhorse since it first started flying a few years ago. If they cancel that, and Elon Musk, as part of his exchange, his big, beautiful breakup with Donald Trump, threatened to start decommissioning the Crew Dragon capsule, which is the only way that Americans can get to space. So if that happens, the ISS as we know it cannot function. You can't get crew up there. You can't get cargo up and down or do the research that, it is a national lab. So that is very significant. A large number of U.S. national security satellites now, they are launched either wholly or exclusively on the SpaceX rockets. That could be a problem as well. And, Jeremy Hansen, Canadian astronaut, supposed to be flying around the moon on Artemis 2. It's that the mission after that, Artemis 3, they're supposed to land using SpaceX technology that they're developing as part of the Starship program. So without Starship, without SpaceX, there is no human lander. You're not landing on the moon. So lots of programs and lots of essentially U.S. space leadership capability that disappears if these contracts disappear and if both Donald Trump and Elon Musk make good on their promises as they continue to battle it out in social media. There's a lot relying on this, and unfortunately, it's a pretty scary time in the space community. We're kind of waiting for the dust to settle.
Celebrity deepfake scams have become a huge problem on social media platforms, and now an oversight board is saying that Meta and Facebook are not doing enough to crack down on that.
Yeah, so the oversight board is actually created by, it's a Meta entity. Meta crafted it to sort of look over the shoulder of the company and say, hey, you're not doing this right. And so what they did was they looked at deepfake reports on Meta's platform, so including Facebook and Instagram and Threads and WhatsApp. And they said that they aren't doing enough to enforce the rules that they made. And as a result, they're making it way too easy for scammers to get away with these schemes that, for example, celebrity impersonation schemes. They are, if a celebrity reports that there's a video of them, there was a big one recently, Jamie Lee Curtis put Mark Zuckerberg on blast, Cristiano Ronaldo, the soccer superstar, these videos that are deepfakes of them. They're claiming to advertise for products that, of course, the legitimate celebrities would never support. And when Facebook is informed and Meta is informed that these are spreading, they're not taking them down. Or in some cases, they're waiting too long to take them down. It already finds a huge audience. In many cases, those deepfake ads have found millions of impressions. And so it's becoming increasingly difficult. What I find disappointing here is that Meta, the company, has responded to its oversight board's report, essentially saying it is without credibility, it is not fair, and they have no intention of changing their behavior. So it begs the question, why even bother having an oversight board in the first place if Meta has no intention of cleaning up its act? That's disturbing. And as a company, Meta has time and again shown it puts profit over doing what's right for its billions of users, and that seems to be continuing here.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you, Carmi.
Great being with you, Matt.